In all of my excitement to tell a story yesterday about the banana dad, I completely forgot about one of the most important stories he ever told us. Sometime after losing nearly half of his life savings, but before organizing a two-person walkabout and food run in New York City, the man from Manhattan was struck with a vision. A land where Lambos and racetracks adorned his lawn. 5-star chefs and restaurants sat at every corner. Maids and butlers awaited his every beckon. The largest theme park in the world was created right in his backyard. Fuck Disney World and fuck those casual fucks. He'd have supermodels and celebrities visit daily. Spas and pools ran like rivers. Luxury resorts and condos, only the best. Yachts and private jets, because fuck it, why not? He'd have it all.
And now you can too, with just an email address, a signature, and a bottomless source of wealth. Yeah! Don't read that, don't call them, don't you fucking worry about a single fucking detail. Welcome to Ape Isla.
All kidding aside, Ape Isla is probably the dumbest fucking thing someone will actually fall for. And true to form, the man from Manhattan can provide no details or information about how any of this will actually work. The things I listed off at the beginning of this story weren't me just being hyperbolic. They are things that he believes will actually be present on this private resort. So how does payment work for this magical paradise? With staff and security, engineers, landscapers, maids, butlers, chefs, restaurants, people to work on the theme park. I forgot about the zoo, but there's a zoo in there somewhere, with animal handlers and vets and whoever else works at a fucking zoo. I'm sure it's a lot of people. Plus, in the middle of all this, you've got a giant racetrack with race cars going 180 miles per hour or more. Somebody's going to fucking die. Whether it be getting eaten and mauled by a lion that didn't get fed because nobody knows who to hire to feed a lion, and anybody present that might actually know how to feed a lion is probably drunk or high or dead by this point. Or you're overtaken by disease that's likely running rampant and unchecked because the man from Manhattan forgot to hire custodial workers and janitors, so now everybody has the plague. And then on top of everything I just said, add probably, a few thousand more miscellaneous employees that would be imperative for anything like this to even work at even the most elementary interpretation of what operational or functional entail. And of course, to top it all off, the man from Manhattan doesn't see any of this as an issue, or that it's even worth his time to address, even though most people invest in things that they have information about beforehand. But our main character doesn't see it like this. Instead, he thinks that for those discussions to take place, he needs to collect everybody's emails beforehand, for some reason. And for some reason, he's adamant about this email plan. He refuses to use any polling devices or platforms, even those built right into YouTube. No, he needs your email for reasons. Before I went off on that 1.5-minute long tangent, we were talking about how these things would be paid for. Well, the man from Manhattan has a solution for that. He wants to sell you a timeshare, which, for anybody that's from anywhere where timeshares are sold, it's pretty much an immediate fuck you reaction. The only people that sell timeshares are people that own timeshares to sell. They are people that are stuck with timeshares. They want out of their timeshares. That's why they're trying to sell you a timeshare. You very rarely sit in a room anymore where somebody in a suit pitches an idea and gives you a free vacation package for listening to them talk about an opportunity to own your own space in Florida. No. Instead, you walk into a grocery store or convenience store and someone is sitting there at a table who looks like they're one collection call away from huffing bleach. They stop you and ask you if you'd be interested in hearing about some kind of opportunity to have your own beachside or mountainside vacation away from home, and then you're given the opportunity to tell them to go fuck themselves. And that's how those exchanges go. You don't sign anything, you don't give them any information, certainly not an email address. and you let them sit there sadly while you go and fill your cart with $200 worth of Hot Pockets. Of course, ultimately, nobody can tell you what to do with your money, but when you get locked into a timeshare, you're paying it for the rest of your life until you're out of that timeshare. And then when you pass on, that timeshare is inherited by your next of kin, and they get to pay it for the rest of their lives until they sell out of the timeshare. So it creates a never-ending loop of constantly owing money for something you might participate in once a year if you have the time, and most people don't. And all of that is just for a condo on a beach somewhere. We're not talking about private islas, specialty resorts with private chefs and Michelin star-rated restaurants with celebrity guests and roller coasters and teacup rides and race cars and rocket ships and gumdrop waterfalls and chocolate fountains and unicorns and dragons that shit cocaine. Your standard timeshare is just a small room and maybe a TV with cable and shitty internet and a bed. And you probably only get to stay in it during the off-season, since the busy season is when all the money is made in places like that. So when you're walking around and you see the man from Manhattan at his fold-out table, sitting with a brochure or pamphlet trying to sell you the idea of Ape Isla off the coast of Florida, remember this video and tell him to go fuck himself, because what he wants to do is have you pay for his permanent vacation spot. Other than that, it sounds like a pretty sweet deal.